Every year there's an argument for who is the best rookie quarterback. This year, the debate's between Jaxson Dart, Cam Ward, and Tyler Shough. All three have a case, and none of them have a clear, undeniable one. The problem is everyone's going about it the wrong way, using passing yards, touchdowns, and team wins. Those numbers don't tell you who actually played quarterback the best. They just tell you who had the most production. We are going to use their film, advanced metrics that isolate individual performance, and context around the supporting cast and situation. And the most revealing place to start, it's late in games, in crunch time. What did these guys do? And we'll start with Jaxson Dart. Against the Broncos, there were a few opportunities for Dart to make. With the lead in hand, the Giants have a great opportunity to stay ahead and make sure the Broncos don't have a chance to win. And so, it's third down, with the coverage being cover 3 pre-snap, with the all-out blitz making it cover 0. With defenders looming in, Dart sees the tight end open for the first down, so he steps up to throw to him and is intercepted by the linebacker. A critical error under pressure, and he knew the linebacker was there. He saw it. It's really bad in crunch time. The Broncos put another score on with that interception, but Dart will get a chance to keep pace with Bo Nix hot. It's third down, the Broncos showing cover 0. At the snap, many defenders back off, and that leaves Dart with a lot of room and time to throw to Robinson, but he overthrows it by a mile. The Giants punt again, and the Broncos score once again. The Giants end up scoring after that drive, but Dart also misses another deep ball wide open, and then almost throws a game-ending interception that was in triple coverage. And because of 2 penalties by the Broncos defense, the Giants do get into the red zone, with Denver getting the game-winning field goal shortly after. It's not great stuff by Dart in crunch time when it mattered most. The other games he failed in crunch time was the Commanders game, the Saints game, and the Vikings. The only game he really kept pace despite losing was the 49ers game. So not great by Dart, but what about Cam Ward though? In the comeback against the Cardinals game earlier this year, Ward is making a bunch of settled gains to get close enough for a field goal to win against the Cardinals. There's 32 seconds on the clock in the fourth quarter, and Cam Ward does what he does best. Cardinals are running a cover 3 variation. Ward looks to the middle and to the right and sees his opportunity, throwing a pinpoint laser beam to Calvin Ridley, and that ball landed with some juice too. This will set up the Titans with the eventual game-winning field goal. This wouldn't be the case in the Saints game though. With the lead in the fourth quarter, Ward has a chance to keep pace with Tyler Shough. It's second down, and the Titans run play action. Ward has a guy open for the first down, but he misses throwing short. That leads us to a third down situation, with it being cover 6, moving to a cover 3 post snap. With a nice play design, Ward has 2 guys open for the first down. He goes for the bigger bite and overthrows it, almost being intercepted as well. I know it's close, but you have to hit those if you are going to go for it. The following drive, Ward drives down the field little by little and has another chance to make something happen. An opportunity arises for him to do so. The tight end's going to be open, but it's a tight squeeze. Ward fires it in and underthrows it, almost getting picked off again. The receiver had no shot of getting this. If you're going to attempt these throws, you have to make them, and he's very capable of doing so. That was Ward trying to keep pace with Tyler Shough. So what exactly was Shough doing on the other side? Near the top of the fourth quarter, after the Titans get a field goal, Shough makes a big time throw, putting the Saints in great position to take the lead. After a short pass, the receiver fumbles the ball and gives the Titans back the ball. They punt, and that puts us here on first down. Shough takes a snap, waits to see the corner bite down on Olave, who breaks free, and Shough delivers a perfect ball and sets up the Saints in the red zone. It's not quite a big time throw, but it is an explosive throw. A couple plays later, Shough throws a beauty over the top for a touchdown. That was smart placement because it allowed for better separation so the corner couldn't just knock it away. That put the Saints in the lead. The Titans punt again, so Shough is given an opportunity to double down to put the Saints ahead. The coverage is cover 2 man. Shough doesn't see his first or second read open, but he sees his third, delivering a strike down the middle. This sets up a big run by Estime for the touchdown. These plays aren't necessarily big time throws, but they are still high leverage plays when they were needed most. Against the Panthers, Shough made even more high leverage throws. Down by 7, it's going to take something to win this game, and Shough starts off strong. His first read is open, but taking short passes will eat up more time on the clock. So he looks to his left and sees Olave running open on this post-like route. Shough fires it in before the safety can get there. Cool, that was open. He doesn't stop there. hitting Olave on a comeback route the following play. It's the aggressive that really matters here. A few plays later, Shough throws a bullet to Olave for the touchdown. A almost impossible throw to make since there's no room for error. I also want to throw in the Dolphins game where he made the throw, a big time throw that is, dropping it in a bucket for Olave to just not catch it. If he caught that would have won the game there as well. Tyler Shough stood out in crunch time. He was more consistent, making fewer mistakes than Dart, but more precise than Ward. He was the only one of the three to make 2 fourth quarter comebacks. But crunch time moments alone don't tell the full story. To really understand how each rookie performed across the board, we need to dig into individual grading, play-by-play performance, and advanced metrics. That's where Pro Football Focus comes in. We see from an overall pass grading standpoint, Tyler Shough was first with a 73.1 passing grade, Jaxson Dart with a 64.8 grade, and Cam Ward with a 56.4. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Arguably the two most important traits for a quarterback that it might be expressed in different ways if you look elsewhere is big time throws and turnover-worthy plays. For Shough, he made big time throws at 3.8% of the time compared to making a bad mistake at 2% of the time, which is really good for a rookie. Usually their turnover play percentage is a lot higher. So Shough was making good decisions with the ball in his hands. He does need to prove on making big time throws though. Elite quarterbacks tend to be in that 5.7% range or higher. Now Jaxson Dart on the other hand was making big time throws at 5.2% of the time. That's great for a rookie. He did come with a 3.4% turnover-worthy play rate, which is 1.4% higher than Shough. That doesn't sound like much, but it is a significant amount. That leads Cam Ward. He made big time throws at 3.7% of the time, but also made turnover-worthy plays at 3.5% of the time, which is not good. You want him to make more big time throws for a guy who, at least coming out of college, was a hyper-aggressive player. I will say this about Cam Ward, half of those turnover-worthy plays were fumbles. He had 11 fumbles this year, most were recovered, but it still counts. You can't be losing the ball. Shough had 3 fumbles and Dart had 5. It would be easy to say that Dart was simply better than the other guys, but there's something we have to consider when examining their big time throws and their turnover plays. And that is how long they're taking to throw the ball. The longer you take to throw the ball, the more opportunities and frankly time you have to make big time throws and better decisions with the ball. In this case, Shough had an average of 2.7 seconds to throw, Ward with 2.98 seconds to throw, and Dart with 3.07 seconds. This is where Tyler Shough stands out. He made fewer big time throws and better decisions than Dart, all while getting the ball a lot faster on average. And 0.3 seconds may not sound like a lot, but it's a world of a difference. Some people want to argue about supporting cast at this point, but that section is for later. You can skip to that part if you like, but I encourage you to stay for this part. Otherwise, you won't hear critical factors at play that matter later on. Pressure is an incredibly important part to look at for quarterbacks because sometimes they are the ones causing the pressure. Looking at allowed pressure, we see Shough was responsible for pressure at 17.1% of the time, Ward at 20.9%, and Jaxson Dart at a whopping 39.1% of the time. That's a staggering number. That means Dart caused 40% of all pressure that he was under, and that's not good at all. And to be honest, none of these numbers are good. You want to be in that 10 to 14% range, that is actually good. Playstyle is a factor, but if you're causing 20+% pressure, you better be making a lot of big time throws. Shough was the best in his category, but not by a lot. Sticking with pressure, we see Dart was the best out of the bunch with a 51.5 passing grade when under pressure. Tyler Shough followed him with a 44.6 passing grade and Ward with 34.8 passing grade. Honestly, the biggest difference was Dart made more big time throws while under pressure, which is more valuable than standard big time throws while being kept clean. But what about their performance at different parts of the field though? In deep passing, Ward stood out as the best with an 89.4 grade, Shough had an 86.9 grade, and Dart had an 83.7 grade. That's not great. Most of the time, most quarterbacks are in that 90+ range for grade. Like everyone's kind of on a similar level at the intermediate part of the field, and this is really important. Shough was hands down the best and elite in this manner, having a 74.3 adjusted completion rate, Dart with a 55.4 adjusted completion rate, and Cam Ward with a 50%. Being great at the intermediate range of field is really valuable because not a lot of quarterbacks are good at that. At the short range, we see it flipped. Dart was the best, barely, with a 75.6 passing grade, Ward with a 75.4, and Shough with a 61.6. That area of the field means something, but not enough, because the plays that happen there don't impact the game as much as intermediate or deep parts of the field. On an individual grade basis, Tyler Shough was the better quarterback. In a couple of areas, Dart was better, but it's just not enough margin to make you think that he was flat out the better rookie quarterback. Tyler Shough was light years better in trying to make a comeback in crunch time, and that's really valuable, whether that was successfully doing so or making the necessary throws without making the critical mistakes. There's one thing left to go over, and that is weighing the supporting cast. When I looked at the data and film, I was genuinely surprised from what I saw because it's not what the media has made it out to be. The one thing everyone thinks of first for supporting cast is the offensive line, and it's very important. Jaxson Dart had the best pass blocking offensive line out of these guys. The Giants were ranked 10th best in pass blocking in the NFL. By efficiency, which weighs sacks heavily, they were the 3rd best in the NFL. That was pretty surprising to see given what people said that Dart had no help at all. We also see in true pass sets, which is basically straight up drop back to pass, the line was very good. In particular the tackles, with the interior being relatively weaker. It gets even crazier with Cam Ward, who had the 13th best pass blocking offensive line, but in efficiency, which again weighs sacks heavily, they were the 26th worst pass blocking unit, giving up 35 sacks. At straight dropbacks, the offensive line for Ward was not bad, but it wasn't great either. There really wasn't any major holes, it was pretty much solid play across the line. The Saints O-line was the 20th best pass blocking unit. They also ranked 20th in efficiency. At straight drop back and pass plays, it was slightly worse than Cam Ward's, but the Saints O-line just gave up more pressure than sacks. I bet you guys weren't expecting that, at least I wasn't. For this, I'm just going to go off of what I saw on film. Cam Ward did not have great receiving options, that's for sure, but it wasn't as catastrophic as people have made it out to be. A.O. Manor was not that bad. People have clowned on the guy when he was a decent option, although inconsistent, but there was a number of moments in the film that I saw where he would be open but Ward would miss him. There are plays that would be explosive plays that Pro Football Focus, for example, wouldn't necessarily give A.O. Manor proper credit, and it took going through the film for me to actually see that. It's a similar case for Dyke. He was not bad. He was good when given the opportunities. My point is, both these guys were serviceable. If Ward hit more of those explosive throws, then it would show in the data. Ward ultimately had a below average receiving core. Tyler Shough had the best receiving core, but it isn't as far and away the best as some have made it out to be. The obvious is Chris Olave, who is a technical wide receiver 1, but for me, Olave is just not a wide receiver 1 actually. It's a really good definitive X receiver, but he's not shown elite top 5 wide receiver stuff even when he's been a target hog. It's still better than anything else the other guys have had. After Olave, it gets rough real fast, so the Saints traded away Rashad Shaheed to the Seahawks. Not to mention, the Saints suffered a lot of wide receiver injuries where they had to have Taysom Hill out there being a primary part of the offense. Jaxson Dart lost Malik Neighbors in his first game starting, and that left the Giants using Darius Slayton as their guy in the offense, and they fairly quickly switched to Robinson. He was really good in some people's eyes, but that's more of a fantasy football perspective. The reality was he's being put out wide, and while he was serviceable, it's clear that's just not the best place to use him since he's a slot guy, not an X receiver. He was a good receiver for Dart, but not in the same sense that Olave was even for Shough. That leaves scheme and play calling. Brian Daboll, as much as I don't like that guy, did a fantastic job for Jaxson Dart for the time that he was there. He designed the whole offense around Dart, and when he was let go, the offense was just not the same, but Jaxson Dart's performance also suffered. With Cam Ward, the offense was pretty stale until Brian Callahan was let go. After that, it took a few games, but the offense started coming to life and the play design was getting much better, though they got routed by the Jaguars both times. With Tyler Shough with Kellen Moore as the head coach, you would think it was a good scheme with great play calling, and yeah, it was good, but it wasn't great. The offense got way too simple at times, and the fact that the Saints had to go to third string wide receivers is a part of that. But the red zone play calling was bad, especially the Saints repeatedly using the Taysom Hill package, and it never made sense at any point for me to use that. I would say Jaxson Dart had the best supporting cast, simply because he had an elite offensive line to do so. But it is close to Tyler Shough's supporting cast since Shough had a stabilized situation. Cam Ward's clearly was the worst, but I don't think it was as catastrophically bad as people made out to be. Sure, they didn't win a lot of games, but that was because of strength of schedule. See, the Titans had the hardest strength of schedule in the NFL. with the Giants coming in at the 8th hardest schedule and the Saints at 20th, meaning Shough had an easier slate of games than Ward or Dart. It doesn't completely dismiss what Tyler Shough has done, it is just something we have to consider. I feel ultimately Tyler Shough was the best of the rookie quarterbacks. It's not a slight to Ward or Dart. For all we know, they could be a better quarterback than Tyler Shough. I think Tyler Shough was the better QB simply because he wasn't the problem at any point. He does all the right things and then adds all the high leverage plays after that, and you really can't ask for anything more than that. His game was the cleanest, while the other two guys had a couple of serious issues in their game. I will make independent review videos of each rookie QB at some point after the NFL draft. But what about a defensive corner that frankly you couldn't ask to do a better job than what he's already done? Check out that video here or this video on why a man's ego is holding back a Super Bowl team.